Lost some folks. All right. This microphone has a lot of feelings and wants you to know about it. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the second half of the festival. Give it up. All right. My name is Lucia. I was your hard-ass judge in the first half. How many of you were here for the first half of the poetry? All right. You should all be raising your hands. Y'all, okay. Keeping you honest back here. Don't let poets lie to you. It was fantastic, right? Can we agree on that? Yeah. It was great. I'm actually feeling a little bit hoarse from all the hooting and hollering that I did, but I'm really happy to be here hosting the second half and not judging, because judging is a hard, hard job. So let's give a little bit of love to our judges who are seated right here behind the projector with their beautiful blue scorecards with which they will pin, ooh, that's a hot mic, my apologies, with which they will pin cold, hard numbers to artful, creative, heartfelt, genuine, vulnerable words. That is a tough job. So for those of you who were not here last block or maybe don't know how this is all going to go down, here's the deal. Half of these fine writers and performers who you see have given their poems or their rants, they've received scores, and now we're here to get the other half of the poets to do the same. So we have our judges, they're gonna be giving scores between 0 and 5, and the scores are meaningless numbers. The judges, they look like they know what they're doing, but we have no actual evidence of that. Audience, this is for you. These are your peers, they're speaking to you, so it is your job to sway the judges. Let the judges know what you think. So if you hear a score that you think is just like right on the money, you're like, yes, that was the score I wanted you to give. What are you gonna do? Yeah, you're gonna hoot, you're gonna holler, but like more than that, because you want the poets to, feel like you care. So what are you gonna do? You're an amazing poem, and then judge throws up a 5. What are you gonna do? Woo! All right, we'll work on that. Maybe this is more of a glass half empty kind of crowd. So what are you gonna do if you hear a poem that you think is amazing, it like reached into your chest and like grabbed your heart and is like squeezing all of the juices and viscera out of it as we speak, and the judge gives it a 2? Higher, boo, hiss, right? You can do all of those things. Audience, it is your job to sway the judges. Audience, cover your ears. Judges, don't let the audience sway you. They don't know what they're doing. Don't worry about them. But although we can talk for a long time about how to sway the scores, why the scores are there, really the fact is that they're just a gimmick to get some butts in seats and to get the poets to bring their best work. So really, your job as an audience at a poetry slam is not just to sit there and be little content sponges, definitely not to be on your phones, but to be present, to be in the room with the poets and with the poetry, and to make something really explosive happen in the air in between them and you. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. If you hear a line that just is like thebomb.com, not a line like that, but one that is like really doing it for you, you can snap. How many of you are good snappers? Show me your best snaps. If you can't snap, you can always crab claw. You can always go crustacean with it. Or, if you don't feel like using your hands or it's not a thing that's available to you, you hear a line that you really love, you can do a right? Like a satisfied, like a fine grape juice has just entered your mouth. Right? And if you hear a line that is whack, that is not doing it for you, you can always do a little tisk, yeah? All right, so let's practice that. I am gonna say the best line you've ever heard. That's good. I like y'all down here. Y'all are paying attention. I'm into it. All right, back. I want you to do as well as the folks up here just did, and I'm gonna say the most absurd and offensive line ever. All right. I'm glad you brought your best tisking today. Okay, well, it's a good thing that we're warmed up because in order to get into the second half of poetry, we have to have a sacrificial poet who is not in the competition but is going to perform a poem and set the bar for the judges. And that sacrificial poet is gonna be me. So please give it up for this guy. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is a poem that is a true story about the time when I had a job fixing the air conditioners of the 1%. It's called When Not to Do the Macarena. They have an ensuite bathroom with 12-foot ceilings where one wall is all mirror and one wall is all marble because God forbid you might forget you're rich while you're taking a bath. They have a serving tray that at first looks like it's made out of pressed flower petals, but when you look closer, each petal is a butterfly wing guarded under glass. They have a geode, the size and shape of a loaf of sourdough, cut open to show the winking black crystals like a star cloud of calcite on a teak end table. They've got a better view than the goddamn space station and a small fleet of Range Rovers. Because, like, what would you do with just one Range Rover? That is a ridiculous proposition. They have a stuffed polar bear in one of the living rooms, rearing up on its hind legs, paws forever stuck in phase 2 of the Macarena, as if it has been taken off guard by a hunter during a really awkward middle school dance, which is why you should never go to really awkward middle school dances. If you are a polar bear, it could be very dangerous for you. They have a guest room that has a dresser with a working sink sunken into the top, and then an attached bathroom with another working sink like 5 feet away from the first working sink. They've got the cleanest guests in the whole world. And they've got me, climbing through the guts of the place in boots that the government bought, tramping happily across the hidden innards of their mansion as I campaign across the attic joist by joist, sucking dead spiders out of the heating recovery ventilation units. The ghosts of those spiders will remember today as the great scourge brought down upon our innocent grave by Tomb Raider Lucia and her shop vac of most terrible destruction. I will remember it as the day I learned how to service heating recovery ventilation units and encountered my first ever privately owned dead polar bear. And they will not remember it at all, which is fine. Surely their spiderless lives are full of other concerns as they unspool in this deeply lovely, lonely house, full of beautiful things, displayed on beautiful stands, and like really ugly things displayed on beautiful stands, and the helicopter pad, and the guest house, and all these cabinets full of dark bottles of expensive smells. I look around, and all of this abysmal glitz reminds me there's some kinds of wealth I want, and some I don't. Thank you very much. Give it up for the poet. All right. And we are going to move things right along. Judges, you're old pros by now, so a 1, a 2, a 3, up with your scores. Let's see what you got. All right, we have, I'm going to take this very personally. We have a 4, a 4.5, a 5, and a 4. Applaud the poet, not the scores. The scores are never personal, and they're never the point. All right, so please keep that applause going. We have a special remote performance coming to you. Give it up for your next poet, Sophia. Woo, woo.
Down and microphone the speaker, okay? Nobody's up there in the booth to turn this mic off while I'm moving it because that's my job.
Give it up for the folks who know how the technology works.
Microphone the speaker.
Where's the
When my hands refuse to stop shaking and I lie awake because my mind rarely
a year. Anxiety feels like there's a voice in the back of my mind telling me everything is not okay. It's like a constant feeling of being unsettled. The voices get so loud at night, not even music can tune them out. It's sad when sad songs aren't even sad enough anymore. The voices tell me how I'm irrelevant and how I am a burden. They keep me up all night, tossing and turning. It's like a light bulb that comes on the most inconvenient time, kind of like when your mom wakes you up first thing in the morning. My body is exhausted, but my mind is wide awake. Anxiety is draining me of everything I have. It's like my mind is on fire, overthinking and overanalyzing every minor moment. It burns to the bone. It's like trees burn in a forest fire. How if one tree burns down, well, I might too. It's spreading into my bones like wildfire in millions of different directions. I've been looking for an exit from all of this fear, but I've lost inside my own mind. It's like being in a cage that is unlocked. The thing is, I can get out, but I've trapped myself in the panic. I get anxious about being anxious and nervous about being nervous. It's sad when you feel alone in a room full of people. My anxiety is not coming from thinking about my future, but how I want to control it. I'm tired of panicking when there's nothing wrong. I don't want everything to be an emergency anymore. I'm tired of being cold in a warm room. I don't want to lose myself in fear, but sometimes there's comfort in panic. I know anxiety is a liar, although it feels incredibly real. I want my mind to heal. I know I am not a burden. I am definitely not alone in this room full of people. So for now, I'm going to sit back and enjoy the thunderstorms that unleash anger and sadness that I am not capable of unleashing myself. My mind is a natural disaster. And in this moment, right here, right now, so is my body.
That was Sophia, everyone. Give it up. All right. Making it happen. Judges, you know what to do. A 1, a 2, a 3. Up with your scores for the poet. All right, we have a 4. We have a 4.5, a 4, a 4, and a 4. Applaud the poet, not the scores. Keep that applause going. Please welcome up to the stage, Chloe. Give it up.
I'm just going to take it right off again. It was you, wasn't it? You came from nowhere. You were the soundless plea on the other side, and you were waiting to get to the other side, and you asked me to take you there. You asked me to take you from the lowest point a piece of work could fall to. You faltered, and you failed, and you asked me to fix all of who you didn't want to be. All of your words sunk to me, into my stomach, where you said your sugar-coated butterflies free, making your persuasion a little too easy, especially when you said it with a loving please after every sentence. So I accepted and helped in your deliverance, and you expected me to make a difference. And so did I. One day at a time, every second of my time, I tried to rip your feelings of the spells that were attacking you. I tried to rid your emotions from the hell that was attached to you. I tried daily to put you back on your feet. I fought for you and brought you to places I myself would never meet, to the highest hills made of lighthearted gladness, a place where sadness was a myth to the many that were brought there too. And I too began to wonder what that wonderful feeling would taste like on my own heavy tongue. But when my job was done, it had only just begun. I'd forgotten about me. I'd forgotten about my needs. My good deeds led me to abandon my ambition. My intuition clicking once the situation was finalized. My inhibitions and an enterprise for me, my stability, had been compromised. Now the same eyes that had me fantasize were now watching me through my agonizingly surprising demise, and the prize of defeat can only fall at your feet because I hope you see what you've done. Do you see what you've done? Now I'm the mistake. Now I'm the failure that faltered and stumbled and tumbled and fumbled the ball, and look at it all. I'm nothing but a joke to you. And all of your responsibilities taken on by someone like me who had done nothing but done good for you. I wanted nothing but to help you, and all you'd done was rejected me so that you could feel better about yourself, and all I could do was wither away. I was only withering away in my own shame. And now I see that you're the one who is truly at fault. You had done nothing good for me. and you had done all that was bad, and I couldn't see it for myself. I couldn't see all the things you had done to me. I couldn't see all of the things that you had done, and I regret it so dearly. I regret it so dearly, and I wish forever to take it back. I would do anything to take it back. And it was you. It was all you. So this is the bastard that took away all of my innocence, all of my goodwill, and all of my thoughts. And I hope you're happy, you motherfucking bitch. Because it was your fault. Thank you.
That was Chloe, everyone. Give it up. All right, judges, you know what to do. Oh, have we lost? All right, judges, you know what to do. A 1, a 2, a 3. Up with your scores for the poets. All right, we have a 4. We have a 3. Let them know what you think. We have a 4, a 3.5, and a 4.5. Applaud the poet, not the score. Keep that applause going. Welcome to the stage, Daniel and Caitlin. Come on up.
How does one? Just before I start, I just want to throw a really big shout out. I've had the pleasure of working with 2 amazing girls on this project. Jamie Logue, who could not be here because she's on the Orlando trip, co-wrote this with me, and Caitlin Malsick, who has the honor of presenting. And I think just a great shout out to them.
It's my place. It's where I can think. The only place where I feel normal. I love the city.
Forest.
Sorry, it's kind of loud here. That's part of why I like it. You may not have heard me. What I said was I love the city.
It's so peaceful here. No one's around to hear me, and that's why I like the forest. Everything is still. The trees and the rocks stand their ground while the wind does its best to wreak havoc on the bushes and the branches, but only the leaves are
Swept away in the buzzing of the city. Like gears in a well-oiled clock, I move in sync with the masses around me, surrounded by persistent people pushing past post offices and pizza parlors on their way to whatever's next. Like the city, I don't sit still.
If there ever was a sound of still, the forest would have an abundance. Silence wraps around it. Woodlands like an eggshell, only to be broken by the presence of life when an animal scurries or scampers across the forest floor or atop the tallest trees. For even the largest of all the bears do not dare disrupt the dim drum of the forest's harmony. The bear will only leave quiet thumps.
But not so quiet from where I'm standing. Feet making a uniform beat as they pound the pavement, marching to the tune of honking horns and colorful curse words. The city breathes the different dialects of its inhabitants, a mix of cultures melding into one central voice. Here.
A word that doesn't really apply in the forest. The forest goes everywhere and beyond, a never-ending adventure. No evil is immense enough to cast shadow over this pure paradise. There will always be trails that need to be explored, mountains that need to be climbed, rivers that need to be swam. In the forest, we never say we're here. We say, let's go there.
It's on a map between this place and that one. A destination for some, but a home for me. When I'm among century-old skyscrapers,
oaks as old as time,
I feel connected to the past.
When I stand under
the glow of streetlights,
fireflies dotting the sky,
I feel protected.
The forest,
the city. This is where I am most me.
But it seems I am no longer alone. These threatening cities looming over my home, ripping out trees and plants like a hurricane, mindless. Only moving forward in their own direction, leaving nothing left alive. The city's heaven.
Growing is all, just a little.
A lot?
Well, maybe.
It's become a problem.
For you, it's innovative.
It's invasive.
It's cutting edge.
It's cutting down trees.
It's new is all.
Why can't you just leave the old? It's so noisy.
It's cultured.
It's hectic.
Energetic.
Simulated.
Sophisticated. There's connection to the people.
But separation from the world.
Well, I suppose it has changed. As the beauty of my city grows, I worry of what is not left behind. Familiar streets have faded into hollow highways, void of the smiles that used to wander through.
Grassy meadows.
Painted over in the one-dimensional grays of concrete.
naturally beautiful saplings that once housed a song of birds.
Reformed into man's aesthetic concert halls, patches of pollution slice through,
The marble blue sky, a home to majestic eagles.
now only holding efficient metal planes.
Now do you understand?
I do.
It's a mess,
That's true.
but I do recognize the cities have purpose. It provides shelter as the forest does. It cares for the sick and strengthens the strong. It feeds those in need. You can make your voice heard, and you never have to be alone.
I'll admit that silence isn't a sound I've heard in a while, and here stillness is in short supply.
Maybe we can find
We just need a
little
little
balance.
balance.
my home. It's an endless adventure.
My home, it's an endless exploration.
My home is wild.
My home is tough. This place, it's our home.
All right, that was Kaylin and Daniel. Judges, what do you think? Go on, a 2, a 3, up with your scores for the poets. All right, we have a 4.5, a 4.5, a 4.5, a 4.5, and a 4.5. Some very united judges. Applaud the poet, not the score. And please keep that applause going. Welcome up to the stage, Tegan. Give it up.
When you're young, the world has seemingly endless possibilities, imagination overflowing and common sense clearly lacking, youthful energy abundant and dreams with no real world backing. You see, as a kid, if you asked me what I wanted to be, I'd reply wholeheartedly, I want to be the Spider-Man. You know, swinging from webs, doing what a spider can. I wanted nothing more than to be even just a little superhuman, wishing on every star, hoping it'd fall down from afar, bringing with it a whole healthy dose of otherworldly gene-altering radiation, hoping even a drop of supernatural blood was flowing through my veins, that my powers would be revealed with the changing of the seasons. But however, you see, I wanted comic book powers for all the wrong comic book reasons. When I was hiding in closeted shadows, shaking like I was starting to start an earthquake with my anger and fear, I had a seriously short-sighted affixation for superhuman strengths, wishing for telepathy to project my thoughts through that thin wooden door, some way to stop the fighting from in here, telekinesis so I could pick up the pieces of broken glass without any bad blood discoloration, teleportation so I could escape all the enclosed spaces and travel any length, pyrokinesis so I could burn all my problems away right at their baseless foundations, or maybe possession, mind control to bend all others to my will, regeneration or invulnerability would be nice, to be able to throw myself fearlessly into harm's way, all my problems simply ricochet away. But really, I just wanted some way to stop all the battery. For you see, here's the secret. I learned I was a mutant, but you see, not the kind you'd see in X-Men. My best power was being able to live in a cave if I wanted, producing my own vitamin D, easy sunburns, red hair, ginger. Truly, I'd won the superpower lottery. But with time, I realized I didn't need to fly on my own to see the world, that I didn't need to be more than man to stand up and make the world right, or to stare adversity in the face, laugh and be happy. I used to be alone. I used to be afraid. But then I realized I had the power all along to reach out to those around me, that I could manipulate a mind-bending myriad of mild and mesmerizing words to make my thoughts heard, and that the only thing to fear isn't fear itself or bloody battle scars, but it's never being scared. If I could turn back time, I wouldn't meddle in history, for each and every memory, despite initial pain, is a part of me, each a piece crucial to the whole. I don't need clairvoyance because the future is better left a mystery, more exciting as a knoll, something to be conquered, climbed not alone, but with family as a whole. I'll probably never live forever. That true immortality is a grand legacy. Each day in that closet, I thought about standing up and saying something. Each day feeling more alone, the time spent waiting, the fighting, the yelling, the time spent praying, no bargaining. In the end, pleading with every God, spirit, and demon I still don't believe in. That day I was left all alone at my grandparents' house, that Easter Monday so long ago, full of despair and longing, cursing my birth, my parents. But given the chance, I'd tell myself, the circumstances of your birth are irrelevant. Superhero secret origin story or not, don't let it define you, but rather refine you. We all think we need superpowers, but not all heroes wear capes. Life is what you want it to be. So my advice, be greedy, want more, reach further, push harder, dream big, but most importantly, and above all else, enjoy life, because we're all only human, and that might just be the most super thing we've got.
All right, that was Tegan, everyone. Judges, what do you think? Go on, a 2 or 3 up with your scores to the poets. All right, we have, all right, we got a 4. Tell them what you think. We have a 3, we have a 4.5, a 4, and a 4. Applaud the poet, not the score. Give it up. Welcome to the stage, Gabby, all the way up to the stage. Keep cheering. Welcome them all the way up to the mic. Yeah, there you go. All right.
This is a message to one who needs to realize it's okay to feel. It's okay to trust someone, to care for another person, but you need to learn that someone else's feelings shouldn't overlap your own. You prefer to suffer on your own than let someone else suffer because of you. But for what? You don't like to show pain, weakness, but how is it better not to show? You're over here crying on your own because obviously letting one person see your flaws, your issues, someone to share your problems with makes you a nuisance. What makes it worse is that you know you have a problem, but you refuse to fix it. What happened to the I love myself? Ooh. Did all your self-importance just leave? Yeah, I get it. You had a rough past, but it's one thing to fix yourself than lie about being fixed. Okay. You want to know what else is wrong with you? Your damn mindset. Why do you think one thing you do is a ticket to failure? But because if you haven't realized, you aren't as dumb as you make yourself out to be. You try hard, push yourself, and yeah, I get it. Sometimes the grade isn't what you want it to be. But shut up. Try lowering your standards a bit. You're like up here. Try getting to like down here. Because, you know, lowering your standards lessens your chance of being disappointed. What else is there? Oh, I know. You know you're beautiful, right? Well, at least I think so. I hope you can see your full potential one day. This is all I gotta say to you. And I hate calling people out, but what's up, Gabby?
That was Gabby. Give it up. All right, judges, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3, up for those scores for the poets. All right, we have a 4. We got a 3. We got a 4. You're going to let them know what you think. We got a 3.5. And we have a 4. Yeah, all right, give it up for the poet, not the score. Keep that applause going and welcome up to the mic, Meg. Give it up. Woo, woo.
You have done this several times before, but this is my first, so I just ask you to be patient. Be my guide through this jungle that you call us. I so easily get tripped up over these vines, or maybe they're just your eyes. Either way, I am captured in them. I'm not very good with words, especially when it comes to you, but on cold nights when dawn seems like a distant dream and I am a lonely wanderer living in my own memories, I look for you. These walls I have built up over a lifetime, you break down so easily, you don't need the Trojan horse. And yes, I'm alluding to Greece. I know you're not a history buff, but I don't want you and I to become history. I want you to be my future, my present. So let me present you with myself, all of me, everything I am able to give you, and all the things I might not be able to give you, but I'll be damned if I won't try. I want to give you that special kind of love, wake up and make you breakfast kind of love, diving in head first kind of love, wearing nothing but your sweatshirt kind of love, where my lips want to be pressed to kind of love, always going to come to your rescue kind of love, because you're the only one that I want to be next to kind of love. And I've heard it's better to have loved and lost, so I want to get lost in your love, that kind of love. I want your love. See, I'm not very good with words, especially when it comes to you. I've never been one to ask for much from people, but I want you to be my tomorrow. Every time I kiss you, I can taste the rest of my life, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself, so for now, I want to whisper words into your skin, teach it the language of my tongue so that we can have late-night conversations without having to say a single thing. I want to show you the northern lights, watch as the aurora reflects itself in your two-tone eyes. I have never liked asymmetry until I saw them. I want to write you love notes in Braille onto my back so that when your hands travel up and down my spine, you can understand how I feel about you, words that my voice cannot properly articulate yet because I'm not very good with words, especially when it comes to you. I've never been much of a love poet, but if I was a love poet, I would write about how I love you, how I learned to love you the same way I learned to ride a bike, scared. But reckless, screw the training wheels and elbow pads. I want my scars to tell the stories of how I fell for you, because love is clumsy and my heart refuses to wear a helmet. How when you hold me close, our heartbeats are the only thing I hear. It is music to my ears. They are the bass line to the greatest love song of all time. How when you kiss me, my heart plays hopscotch in my chest. It climbs onto my ribcage like monkey bars, and I feel like a little kid all over again. How you say you can't sing, but your voice sings symphonies when you say my name, lips curling around the syllables, cradling each letter like sweet silk spun by 1,000 suns. See, I'm not very good with words, especially when it comes to you. I guess what I'm trying to say is when everything is chaos, you're still the north that my compass finds time and time again like home. Your name will always be a plate set at the table of my tongue. And I don't want to be naive enough to think that we'll last forever, but all I ask is that we create memories that do.
Give it up for Meg! All right, judges, you know how it goes. 1, 2, 3, up with your scores for the poet. All right. Yeah, tell them what you think. We have a 5, a 4.5, a 5, a 5, and a 5. Give it up for the poet, not the scores. Keep it going. Welcome up to the stage, Michael. Keep clapping.
Hello? Hey. Boom, boom. Ain't it great to be crazy? The whole world thinks your mind is a little hazy, yet maybe you're just like them in many ways. Yet they treat you like some sort of display where others can gawk with no fear of repercussion. Your brain's considered broken, under construction. And they say intelligent people think outside the box, but it was like we were meant to be unorthodox. And judging by history's Hall of Fame, the myth has been busted. We're not all the same. Not everyone has that same train of thought. That's a ticket that just can't be bought. Our society is derailing. Labels can hurt, but so can failing. With everything in life, there's a fine line. All we need to do is open our mind. This is an issue which no surgeon or psychiatrist can fix. The only cure to ignorance is open-mindedness. And you may go through life with a big fancy degree, walking down easy street feeling free, but if you don't look where you're going, you may hit a wall. Ignorance is bliss, but you don't know it all. So let all see the label and wear it with pride, and when you don't need it anymore, put it to the side, but keep it. Keep it as a reminder for who you are, because let's face facts, humans are truly bizarre. And the mind is the sharpest tool we own. When locked up in a shed all alone, it rusts, corrodes, gets shoved away, never again to see the light of day. We need to stop putting people in boxes and shipping them away to specialists who aren't that special. Adversity becomes their ally in their fight for identity, for a chance to be seen as normal. But normal is a subjective term. Today, I can stand before you and confirm we're not the same. We're the same, but different. Art, math, science, and music, each strand of DNA makes us our own unique entity. Creation's natural creativity, a mosaic of infinite possibilities. Yet we frame it to contain it. No slips, no mess-ups. Everything must be perfect. It seems nowadays that every human has become a project, but we don't have to fix what is not broken. So I think instead of trying to conform everyone to think the same, I think we need to let each other teach each other that it's okay to be who you are. It's okay. We're okay. I mean, it's not like we're all from IKEA. We're not easy to assemble, fix, or follow. We have no instruction manual to rely on. We are the human race. We were built to build, created to create, each possessing talents unlike the other. We must invest in each other, so stop putting those in the cage which we are so desperately trying to escape. Let's be who we truly are and let society take shape. Be who you want to be, not what others want to see. Like a wise purple dinosaur once told me, boom, boom, ain't it great to be crazy?
Michael, all right. Judges, time to shine. A 1, a 2, a 3, up with your scores for the poet. All right, we've got a 4.5. We've got a 4. Yeah, tell them what you think. A 4.5, a 4.5, and a 5. Give it up for the poet. Now the score. Keep it going for Esley.
Hello. My name is Esley, by the way. You see, it's not my style to stand by while on a board you pin me like a blue dragonfly. Am I part of your collection of affection? I am the reflection of perfect imperfection. And see, you've got me by my tail, so I'll tell you the tale about how much it sucks to catch feelings. And y'all know what I'm talking about. That kind of feeling when I start talking to someone and the feels just sit there with a cocky flare and a smirk on their face, and when I least expect it, they hit me. Now I'm checking my phone 24/7, waiting for that yellow little ghost icon to pop up, and refreshing and waiting, and refreshing and waiting, because I don't want to open your Snap before it hits the 3-minute mark, as if me not opening your Snap for a full 3 minutes is going to prove I'm not that into you. That kind of feeling when I finally get to know you a little more and I think about what you said earlier about how you feel the same, and butterflies well up beneath me. It's getting blurrier because to my friends out there who know me well can tell that I don't like it when this thing called a crush makes me want to take a paintbrush and dip it in my heart to pour onto my heart, because when you sit there and tell me I'm pretty, I hate to blush. That kind of feeling when you sit there and tell me I'm pretty, the heat from my cheeks filter down and ripple like a rock dropped into the deep crevices of my neck. That kind of feeling that Drake obviously has for Rihanna. That kind of feeling of my brain saying no and my heart beating faster, as if telling me in Morse code that yes, I should let you in. So be the Drizzy to my Riri, but sweethearts also break hearts, and I hate that I'm letting it be allowed, hate that I'm saying this out loud. That kind of feeling where I'll let you know right now, this poem isn't about you, boy. It's for the key that I probably should give up, that sits in front of the beat in my chest, that kind of feeling.
Esley, everyone. Okay, judges, you know what to do. A 1, a 2, a 3, up with your scores for the poet. All right, we have a 4, a 4, a 4.5, a 4, and a 4.5. Tell them what you think. Applaud the poet, not the scores. Keep it going, and welcome up to the mic, Christopher. Give it up.
Of all the banal foodstuffs in the world, the jelly donut is synonymous with freedom for liberty-loving individuals all across the face of God's green earth. Deep-fried in fat, glazed with powdered diabetes, and filled red like the blood of martyred freedom fighters, it's 400 calories of commie butt-kicking that tastes like punching a terrorist in the face. Wherefore, the jelly donut consists simply of jelly surrounded by protective dough, which liberates people from the tyranny of hunger. So too the jelly donut is the lifeblood So too the lifeblood of democracy is protected by a superior defense and a steadfast willingness to fire tomahawks of freedom into godless Middle Eastern villages. For where there is freedom, there are jelly donuts. From the cafes of Berlin to the tea rooms of London, but you will not find them in Moscow, because if there is one thing that will scare the living daylights out of Comrade Khrushchev, it's wasting good wheat because we can, because that is what freedom is all about. Now there are some in the liberal media elite who will try to convince you that donuts give you heart disease. And they'll tell you that 97% of scientists agree. Friends, let not the muffin industrial complex fool you for a moment. To paraphrase President Kennedy, there are some who say that muffins are the wave of the future. Show them a jelly donut. And there are some who say in Europe and elsewhere, we can work with the muffins. Show them a jelly donut. And there are even a few who say that it is true that muffins are an evil pastry, but it permits us to make culinary progress. Zeig ihnen einen Berliner. Show them a jelly donut. All free men, wherever they may live, are jelly donuts. And therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the words, I am a jelly donut. Thank you.
Give it up for Christopher! Judges, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3, up with these words for the poet. Yeah, there it is. All right, I'm so. Put them up. Put them up. Let's see it. All right. Yeah, they're already braying. The crowd wants higher scores, but keep them up. We have a 4.5, a 5, a 4.5, a 5, and a 4.5. All right, applaud the poet. Not the score. Keep the applause going. Welcome up to the stage, Caitlin. Give it up.
Oh, God. Why is it so high?
Hello. One 17-year-old bi girl, and you know I have that teenage angst because I guess I'm not getting enough bang for my buck, but this world is so messed up and no one listens to our generation because we're just kids. But we're kids who hustle and try to get above the bustle of the city where the old folks flow their closed-minded quirks and tell us that we don't know how to work because we have cell phones. And are quickly becoming the me generation when we're just trying to have at least some appreciation for the beauty that this small planet holds, and let's not talk about who ruined it in the first place. Worst case scenario, we come up with a reason to save the planet and they don't listen, so we have to keep coming up with lists of reasons as to why we shouldn't destroy our planet in the first place. Growing up, you know, we could light this whole world up with clean energy like sunlight and water or air and all of these other natural things. But trust me, the older generations wouldn't understand these kinds of things because as soon as our screens light up, they tell us how messed up it is, that we'd rather learn about the world around us than listen to the ignorance surrounding us. But there's so much beauty surrounding us if we just ignore the fact that our world is dying. Nobody is doing anything about it, and anybody that is trying to do anything about it is constantly being shut down. And no, I won't shut up until my generation can stand up without being laughed at by the adults who are so blissfully unaware of the damage they have caused because look at these dumb kids thinking that they can change anything. Well, I mean, I guess anything can happen if enough of us youngsters are delusional enough to stop listening to you old as hell ancestors.
All right, give it up for Caitlin. Judges. You know the drill. A 1, a 2, a 3. Up with your scores for the poet. All right. Public outrage ensues. We have a 3, a 4, a 4.5, a 3.5, and a 4. Applaud the poet. Let him know what you think by applauding the poet, not the score. Keep the applause going. Welcome up to the stage, Kristen. Give it up.
She's 18 now, so it's been about 11 years, and I was wondering if you remembered her eyes filling up with tears. She still rubs her legs and grips her arms when she gets nervous. Panic attacks are common. I guess her mind's still out of service. Her dreams still plagued with nightmares, although they're getting less. She's in debt to a landlord of innocence, and there's parts she'll never repossess. But this is not meant to make you feel guilty, although I don't know you ever could. This is a letter to give her a voice when no one ever would. I can picture that little girl all bundled in her coat, fiddling anxiously with a puzzle while the doctor's sketching notes. Her lips were chapped, her cheeks were pink, just kissed by the cold of December, when an empty promise with a medical degree told her she's just too young to remember. Now, this thing that they were talking about happened when she was 3. The diagnosis was that she was 7 now, her prescription a half-assed apology. But little did they know she wasn't just kissed by December, and that wasn't the only time, but no one talked about September. And she might be 18 now, but she sure as hell remembers, because there weren't enough showers to wash you away, and believe me, she tried. So she climbed into bed that night, and her chest began to hurt. The memories seemed to drown her mind, but she focused on her shirt. It was the one the girls made fun of with a giant Thomas the Train, and it just happened she wore her favorite shirt the day she learned of such deep pain. Now, kids were scared of monsters, their only worry a distant roar, but she was scared of the playroom because she didn't want to play with you anymore. Although she struggles now and then, her heart's so filled with love. Her soul's no longer suffering. There's so many things that she's let go of. She no longer feels angry, and she no longer feels sad. She no longer longs for the innocence she wished she could have had. She no longer wishes you'd burn in hell, and she no longer wants to die. I don't hear her curse your name, and you're not the reason that she cries. But I didn't just write this letter for her. I wrote this letter for me. Because the day I burned my favorite shirt, I set that little girl free. Sincerely, Kristen.
That was Kristen, y'all. All right, judges. You know the drill. A 1, a 2, a 3. I'll put the scores for the poet. All right. We have a 4. We have a 4.5. Tell them what you think. We've got a 5, a 4.5, and a 4.5. Applaud the poet. Give it up for the poet, not the score. And keep that going. Welcome up to the mic, Ruwan.
Dear basketball, I fell in love with you from the moment I started shooting imaginary game-winning shots. I gave you my all, from my mind and body to my spirit and soul. I ran up and down the court after every loose ball for you. You asked for my hustle, I gave you my heart. I played through the sweat and pain, and not because challenge called me, but because you did. After all, that's what you do when someone makes you feel as alive as you've made me feel. Walking the street, bouncing my heartbeat over concrete, deep in thought with my dreams and arm reach. When I step foot into the court, it's like I've entered into an invisible fort. Bulletproof jersey and shorts, basketball was more than a sport. It was a place of resort, a home away from home, an indestructible bunker in the middle of a war zone, a shelter for the needy, a clinic for the sick, a window in a prison, a life vest on a sinking ship. See, some things are hard to explain, and you are one of them. On the court is where all the memories are, sneakers squeaking like crusty old brakes, the sound of the ball bouncing and the rim shaking. You are a form of art. See, watching what you think is perfect should make you practice, and practice should never make perfect. You made me hungry, and this is the one that keeps you up because you feel like you haven't done enough. From the time I tried out and was told it was impossible for me to make the team because others wanted to pursue a basketball career in post-secondary, or because I couldn't do this and that, I thought I wasn't good enough. See, watching what you think is perfect should make you practice, and practice should never make perfect. Sometimes you need to lose more than you need to win because it's easy to get comfortable in a position that you're in. It's not about when you fall, it's about when you stand up again. You, basketball, kept me going. And maybe then I was at the urge of crying, but emotions never stop time, so you made me use what I felt as fuel. You kept me going even after being told I wasn't good enough. You pushed me to dribble harder, to play harder. The voice in the back of my head, it's impossible for you to make the team, but I knew I was stronger. You made me raise my chin and drop my fear, so I left it all on the court. I left it all for you, and you seemed to take care of it. And we both know that no matter what I do next, I'll always be that kid with a crumbled paper, garbage can in the corner, 5 seconds on the clock, ball in my hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right, give it up for Rowan. Judges, you're pros by now, so you know what to do. A 1, a 2, a 3, up with your scores. All right, we've got a 4.5, a 4.5, we've got a 5, a 4.5, and a 4.5. Applaud the poet, not the scores. Keep those hands slapping together. Welcome up to the mic, Riley. Give it up.
Hi, I'm Riley, and I'm really sad. A little bit. I didn't go to Riverside in grade 9. I went on 2 tours of the place, and I even showed up for the grade 9 initiation, but I ended up going to a smaller school called Inquiry Hub. I don't really regret it, but it didn't really work out as I would have liked it to, and I ended up coming here for grade 10. So I walked in, and I surveyed the area. Everything was the same as last year, or so it seemed. Days and days went by. I couldn't help but feel something was missing. I didn't know what. Walking through the halls, I'd go searching high and low, left and right, but no beacon of hope to me would shine bright. Maybe there's nothing wrong. Over the course of a year, maybe nothing in this building has changed at all. From the windows to the wall. Everything seemed the same. For my imperception, I had only myself to blame as I gave up. Almost gave up. For a glimmer of possibility had found its way through the seemingly never-ending darkness of my own thoughts. I raced down the halls to where I knew I would find exactly what I was looking for. And behold, it had been taken out the door. In its place, nothing but a wall. To look at this, I could hardly stand it all, but I had to. It was important that I take this in, because this is real life. It is how it is, and they say you never know what you have until it's gone, but for me, it was gone before I even had it, and I knew exactly what it was. My heart sank to my belly button. I fell to my knees. My mind left pondering. How could this be? I guess the school wouldn't renew your lease. Replaced by a flat screen. May you rest in peace, my dearest chocolate milk vending machine.
Riley! Okay, judges. See how you feel about chocolate milk. A 1, a 2, a 3, up with your scores for the poet. Well, we know how the audience feels, so we've got a 4, a 3.5, a 4, a 4, and a 4. Applaud the poet, not the scores. Keep that applause going. Welcome up to the mic, Jen.
The dazzling dark blue sky of the whispering night, where the end never comes, and the brightly shining lights are telling extravagant stories about battles and tragedies that happen for century after century after century. With these stories are the legends which adapt after each retelling. Like a vine of roses is interweaving its deadly thorns into the hearts of everyone. These celestial bodies that are seen every night are my thorns. They tear my heart from my chest, and it isn't until I rip my impressionable eyes from the beauty that the beating begins once again. Thump. 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 Is my weakening heart when I look upon the constellations where the loyal Leo lies and the stubborn Scorpio squanders. But the one that destroys me the most, the one that I have never been able to escape its suffocating grasp from, where all I want to do is make my own destiny, I am unable to. I've laid fragile in his arms since my first breath. Screaming for help does nothing because my horoscope is written into my very blood just like the Rosetta Stone is carved into ancient rocks. And the carver of this story has taken full control of the reins and is unwilling to give the burden to someone else. They allow the pressure from gravity to embed itself upon their skin, sucking away all of their fight. Never stopping to think, to truly think, to think if the stars were aligned differently, that maybe, just maybe, they stood a chance against the old beast that has no weaknesses, where voyagers are sucked into the black abyss of a mouth, and time is frozen. It is at a standstill. So trying to scream does nothing. The stars are aligned so perfectly that this fate of mine is permanent. I can't get out. I can't escape. Because many people believe that this fate is good, pure. But they're so blind, they don't see how a path of ruins is left behind them. These crystal gods are welcomed into the homes of so many minds. Their beauty can influence actions which can that can destroy mankind. So no matter how hard you may try, fate is inevitable.
All right, give it up for Jen. Judges, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3, up with your scores for the poets. All right, yeah, let them know what you think. We have a 4.5, we have a 3.5, a 4, a 4, and a 4. Applaud the poet, not the scores. Give it up for all the poets in the Riverside Spoken Word Festival 2017. And while you're at it, give yourselves a little round of applause for being a wonderful audience. Turn to someone near you and pat them on the back while I high five all of the poets. Ready? Go. I did it. I got all the high fives. Folks, I know we are nearing the end of the day. We have to go into overtime for just a couple minutes because right now, in the wings, deliberation is happening that is going to determine who is going to be crowned champion winner of all poetry of all time. That's what's on the line today, right? That was like the stakes? Yeah, totally. So we just have a couple more minutes until we all know what's going to happen. Which means that it's just me and a microphone, which makes me really tempted to tell jokes. Although I probably shouldn't. What's that? All right, my friends. The anticipation is intense. It's causing mayhem. I have to say, this is my, maybe third or fourth time coming to Riverside and getting to host, judge, be part of this show that you have every year. And I am always impressed. Like, this school has some spitfire poetry going on. Have any of you in the audience been up on this stage before? No? Yes? A couple folks? Is anyone gonna do it next year? How many of you are like, you could not pay me enough money to get on this stage? All right, there's a number. You're like, okay, what's the price? If I paid you $200, would you do poetry? $400, $10,000. Are you serious? What's your favorite? Think about, do you like puppies? Think about how many puppies $10,000 could buy for like one poem. I know it's not everybody's thing, but one day one day we're going to write a grant and we're going to get a $10,000 grand prize for the Riverside Poetry Festival, and I expect to see all of you all on stage. All right. Everybody's twiddling their thumbs nervously. So I do want to let you all know one more thing. This is actually pretty important, so y'all listen up. Shh. Okay, so when we come up here, when the folks who are like into doing the poetry, which I know isn't all of us, come up and bring our work to you, the stage is kind of like, it's kind of a special place, right? There's this special relationship that we have as a performer with an audience, as an audience with performers, and sometimes it allows folks to be really vulnerable, to really be just like radically open and tender and talk about stuff it's not easy to talk about. I started doing spoken word poetry when I was 15, and I did not let my parents come to a poetry show until I was like 25, because I was like, no, I can tell strangers, but you all never get to know. But you guys aren't strangers. You all go to school together. You might know some of these folks. You might want to approach them about something that you heard them say today. And you know what? That's awesome. One of the reasons that spoken word poetry is amazing is that you get to like be there in real time and interact. But remember to seek consent before going up to someone and being like, hey, that thing that you talked about in your poem, I have a lot of ideas and opinions, and like maybe it's praise, maybe it's, constructive criticism. Always first be like, hey, are you in a good spot to talk about that rad poem that you did? And then wait for them to say yes, and then go in on it. But sometimes when we've put ourselves in these like super vulnerable places, it's tough to just have someone like come up to us and be like, I know this thing about you now. So please do be mindful of maintaining like a culture of consent and making sure that folks can keep getting on stage feeling comfortable and feeling like the things they've shared are going to be sacred and like held and respected. Sound good? Can we all agree to that? Yeah, all right. How are we doing back there, deliberators? Oh, I see some rustling. All right, the time has come. Should we have a drum roll to get him out here? I don't want to read it. You have to read it. I have to read it? Yeah. And here is Sonia Littlejohn to read the standings from the Poetry Slam.
Hi. All right. First off, I think you all did an amazing job, and my judging is like all over the place, so take nothing personally. But runner up for the grade 11s. Give a drum roll. We have Chris Wu.
Give it up for Chris Wu. All right.
And in first, we have Gabby and Heather. Yay!
Gabby and Heather are the grade 11 winners.
You can stand up or like come up here.
You want to like take a bow? No, they're like, no.
No,
like my
okay.
chairs.
All right.
That's fine.
Just like a casual wave. Oh, there you go. Beautiful. Okay. And then in grade 12, we have the runners up, King and Eve.
Give it up for King and Eve. All right. Yes. Bringing the power of love.
And in first, we have Meg.
Give it up for Meg Ursak. Woo, woo, woo. These are your 2017 Riverside Spoken Word Festival champions. Woo. All right. Also, it's the weekend. Yeah.